When loyalty becomes your downfall. They tell you loyalty is everything. That if you give your all, the world will return it. But what if your loyalty becomes invisible? What if it becomes the very thing that drags you down? I was married for 17 years to a man I trusted. A man I believed in. Not because he said the right things, but because, in the small, browless hours of life, I showed up. I scheduled his dentist appointments. I remembered his mother's birthday. I balanced the bills, emailed the school, made sure the kids' forms were signed. I ran the engine while he drove. At first, it felt normal. It felt like partnership. But partnership isn't one person doing the steering while the other naps. It's two people holding the wheel. Little things add up. The asking, the arranging, the remembering. You think you will someday be seen. You think one day someone will say, thank you. But after years go by, thank you stops being enough. It becomes hollow. I asked him to help. I asked him to notice. He shrugged. He said he was busy at work, and he was. He also assumed everything else would continue to happen without him. That assumption was my undoing. So I left. It wasn't dramatic. No shouting scenes on a porch. Just a quiet decision, boxes packed, legal papers signed. After 17 years, I chose myself. For 5 years, we lived separate lives. I moved on. He moved on. The kids and I settled into a routine. He missed more moments than I can count. I stopped thinking about him. Then he started calling. Not once. Every day. He wanted me to remove my name from his home and auto insurance. They won't remove you unless you call, he barked, like I was an assistant on call for his emergencies. He called me each morning, each evening, convincing himself I had created a problem. He acted as if 5 years had erased the fact that I had a life of my own. Imagine hearing that after half a decade. I called the insurance company myself, just to end it. The agent sounded surprised. No record of him asking, she said. We would have removed you if he'd asked. And then the agent said something deliciously ironic, changing his marital status on the policy from married to single would likely increase his rate considerably. Suddenly, my absence on paper had financial consequences. I said, very calmly, he should decide if it's worth it. I haven't lived there for 5 years, so if you want to backdate anything, that's on him. I left it there, not out of cruelty, but out of truth. For years he treated invisible labor like it was free. He assumed someone would always sign the forms. Now the forms were his problem. A few weeks later, the reason became obvious. He had a new girlfriend, younger, excited, and apparently shocked to find my name on policies and paperwork. I could see her perspective. Finding out the person you're dating has an ex-wife still listed on his insurance would raise eyebrows. Except, and here's the part one don't forgive, he had the power to fix it all along. He chose not to. He chose convenience over accountability. Then our son needed minor surgery. Insurance pre-approved it, but approvals are messy, phone trees, hold music, and red tape. Because he was the primary policyholder through his job, I had to involve him. I had already done the forms, collected the documents, called the hospital. But there's always one final click only the primary can do. I called him. I explained. He sighed and launched into a monologue about how expensive life had become. New car, busted pipe, repairs, the works. He name-checked his new girlfriend like a consolation prize. She stepped up, he said, almost proud. I can't fake your voice. And I don't do shortcuts anymore. He grumbled. He complained. He asked for sympathy. I had none to give. Because here's the truth. He makes over $120,000 a year. He pays a hefty child support, money that, frankly, didn't buy him time with his kids. He goes on vacations while missing birthdays and recitals. So when he complained about a pipe or a car, I heard not hardship, I heard choice. My reply was short. Text me when you've called United so I can call the hospital back. Bye. That moment felt small, petty even, and I'll admit, satisfying. Not because I wanted him to suffer, but because there was finally clarity. The invisible labor I'd carried had value. For years, I carried it without acknowledgement. Now, A missed step and another adult's oversight exposed how much I had been doing. Sometimes justice isn't a dramatic reveal. It's a quiet reckoning. I think about loyalty differently now. Loyalty is noble if it's reciprocal. It loses its virtue when it becomes expectation, when the other person forgets you exist unless they need a signature. There were nights I stayed awake juggling worries. There were celebrations I planned alone. I forgave. I tried. But forgiveness doesn't mean you erase yourself. In the end, my children mattered more than proving a point. We got through the surgery. We had each other. He faced some paperwork and perhaps a higher bill. He learned, painfully, externally, the cost of complacency. And I learned this. Your loyalty should never be your downfall. Protect your energy. Teach boundaries. Let people catch up to the labor they never saw. Say yes. I gave him exactly what he asked for. It was petty. It was deserved. But more than that, it was a lesson wrapped in truth. When you stop being invisible, you stop being used. And sometimes that is the kindest revenge of all. Thank you for listening.